Hey everyone, welcome back to John's Watch. Today I'm going to be talking about an upcoming game called Copycat. This game is going to be released on Steam on September 19th, 2024. Its regular price will be $14.99 US or your regional equivalent, and it's developed by Spoonful of Wonder and published by Neverland Entertainment, Nuvem Inc., and Spoonful of Wonder. This is a narrative-driven game about rejection, belonging, and the true meaning of home. It follows the story of a newly adopted shelter cat who becomes the victim of an elaborate plan when a jealous, stray copycat steals her place in the household. In the press release I was given, I was told that this would be about a 3-hour experience, very story-heavy, very emotional, very evocative, and so I, being very much a cat person, and hearing that it was only about 3 hours, I thought I would go ahead and play the whole thing for this video. So at the time of recording, I finished it about 5 minutes ago. It took me 3.1 hours on Steam. I think that 0.1 hour was probably idling when I got up to like rinse my coffee mug or something. So it did take me pretty much exactly 3 hours to finish this. And as a cat person, as someone who's owned a cat previously, who really loves cats, this game hit really close to home. This was just a wonderful game that I thoroughly enjoyed playing. It made me feel a lot of things. I think the long and short of it is, if you're a cat person, you'll probably absolutely love this game. Even if you're not necessarily a cat person, I think you could still absolutely enjoy it. I just think it probably hits a little bit closer if you love cats, like I do. But yeah, as long as you don't despise cats, I think you'll absolutely enjoy this game. The whole time I was playing, I knew it was going to be a 3-hour experience. It's very high quality. It feels great to play. It's a wonderful story. But the whole time I was thinking, I was kind of had it in the back of my mind. I hope they choose a good price point for this, because this is a great game that I think a lot of people should play. But if they price it wrong, they're gonna, price it out of a lot of people's hands. And so $15 US, that seems pretty reasonable to me, honestly. So in this game, you play as a rescue cat called Dawn. You start the game off in a shelter, and basically it starts off with what we learn is an elderly woman called Olive, who is interested in adopting an adult cat. She specifically doesn't want a kitten. She wants an adult cat to give it a good home. She's led to where the adult cats are, and you're given a set of 6 cages, each with a different colored cat in there. And this basically is just your character creation. It just lets you choose what fur color cat you want. I cycled through them. I was tempted to go for like the tortoise shell kind of tabby look, but I ended up going for the orange cat because my sister has an orange cat that looks very similar to the one in this game, called Maggie, full name Meowgrit. And I don't know if that was a mistake, because, about halfway through this game I was like, man, I really want to see Maggie. Just want to go see my sister's cat. As Dawn the cat, you get taken back to Olive's house. You are very scared at first, as any new cat is. I think when I first got my previous cat, Munchkin, like many years ago, something like 18 years ago or something, who's no longer with us. But when she first got to the house, I think she hid for about a day or something, and eventually she opened up. But it's very realistic for a cat to just hide for the first little while in a new house. After Dawn eventually comes out of hiding, you learn the controls of the game. It's fairly simple. You are just controlling a little cat. You move around with, I played on controller, so you move around with the left stick. You can jump with A. You're a cat, so you can do a pretty big jump, and you can combine your jump with like hopping against like shelves to clamber up them, like a cat would. You can run by holding down the right bumper, and you can meow by pressing Y. As an aside, I didn't look up any of the achievements before I started playing, and during my playthrough I got an achievement to meow 100 times. And so this is just from me pressing the Y button 100 times. and I looked at the time of my recording, because I video recorded the whole thing. I looked at the time of my recording when I got this achievement, and I'd only been playing for 50 minutes, so I'd been just constantly meowing. You know, I was doing it when it felt appropriate, but when I was just wandering around the house, I was just meowing pretty much, just walking around meowing. After Dawn's wandered through the house a bit, she comes across a TV in the living room, and there's like a nature documentary on there talking about wild cats. And this obviously really sticks with Dawn the cat. She seems to believe that she is indeed a wild cat, like a lion or a panther or something like that. And the TV program is being narrated by a well-voiced nature documentary presenter. And over the course of the game, this presenter moves from just being heard on the TV to becoming Dawn's kind of inner monologue. So just throughout the game, the nature guy will just chip in and say like, "Oh, this is what you're doing, Dawn," and it's really good. And he's a great voice actor, so it fits really well. As this game is obviously very, very narrative heavy and very story focused, I'm not going to talk too much about the game, but it does say right in the description and on the store page and even in the title, Copycat. It's very clear that eventually Dawn will no longer be in that house anymore, as it said on the Steam page. Dawn becomes the victim of an elaborate plan when a jealous stray copycat steals her place in the household. So, near the start of the game, and you actually get to stay in the house longer than I expected, just going off the title and the description. You get to explore the house and just do house cat things. You run around in the garden, you try and catch a butterfly, things like that. You meow at gnomes and birds. But eventually, the copycat does take your place in the house, and you end up out on the streets, and the world of Copycat is bigger than I expected. Some of the levels that you're allowed to move around in are much bigger than I was expecting. And you do all sorts of mini games, I would say is the best way to describe them throughout the game. When you're hunting down that butterfly that I mentioned before, you have to press Y at the right time in like a little rhythm action mini game kind of thing. Later on in the game, you do like an endless runner mode where basically you've got like 3 lanes that you're running along in, and you have to dodge the obstacles by moving left and right and staying in the middle. There's also various combat events. You're a cat out on the streets. You're gonna find things to fight, I guess. And those mini games are pretty much just QTEs, just button combinations that you press. And all the mini games are super simple, nice and chill, nice and relaxing. They don't, there's no dissonance between this very chill game where you're playing as a cat and then suddenly having to do intense action sequences. No, the puzzles and mini games are very simple and really fit with the game. But yeah, I think that's all I'll say about the story, because that is almost the entirety of the game, and it's absolutely wonderful just to experience it for yourself. Just take it from me that it is very, very emotional and really, really good. It's got a bit of a unique setting, this one. It's actually set in Australia, and it's kind of done in collaboration with Screen Australia, which is just like a funding board in Australia, I guess, to fund Australian media. And so it's actually all made with, it says on this press kit, it's made with a touch of Australia, so it's made with local voices and locations under the Australian sun. So all the voice actors have Australian accents. They're mostly good. Luckily, all the main voice actors are very, very good. A couple of like the minor ones that you only hear a few lines from are less good, but fortunately, all the main voice actors are very, very good, and just kind of cool to hear Australian accents. Obviously, the best voice actor does indeed go to Dawn the cat. I assume these are like real cat meows that have been recorded for this game, but there's so many different types of meows that Dawn does that, like, if you're just like sitting there pressing the meow button like 10 times in a row, you might hear the same one twice. Like she does loads of different types of meows, which is nice. She sounds very natural. It runs really well on my PC, which is fortunate because there's really not much in the way of options. Your graphics options literally just come down to 3 quality presets, low, medium, and high, and whether you want to enable or disable VSync. I put it on high and disabled VSync, and my frame rate was kind of all over the place. I think the lowest I ever saw it get was in a later level, and it dropped down to, I think, like just below 60. But then most of the time it was, around like 140 or something. It just seems to dip more than I expected in some places and then jump back up, so I'm not quite sure what was going on. But for the most part, yeah, it ran very well. It was always, it was pretty much always at a good enough frame rate, and it looks really, really nice. The lighting especially looks great. There's a mirror in the house that you can go sit in front of, and it's just like a perfect reflection of yourself and the room behind you. And so that must be taking quite a lot of resources, but that's quite impressive. And just before I finish off, I did want to mention the developer again. It's called, the developer is called Spoonful of Wonder. And this is an Australian-Ukrainian duo. So it's made up of Samantha Cable and Kostya Liakov. Sorry if I've pronounced either of those names wrong. And my press kit says that Spoonful of Wonder's vision is to develop video games that ignite imagination, spark nostalgia, and speak to the soul. They believe every game needs a spoonful of the sweet stuff. Copycat is their debut title, and this is absolutely fantastic for a debut title. It's really one of the best games I've played this year. I wouldn't be surprised if I talk about it again later this year, hint hint. So yeah, I just wanted to give a little extra shout out there at the end that this game is developed by just a duo, so that's really, really impressive. There you go, those are my final thoughts on the game Copycat. Absolutely wonderful. If you're a cat lover, definitely play it. If you don't mind cats, still, I think you'd probably enjoy it. I think most people would probably really like this game as long as they're into narrative, story-driven games. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!